I am Ensign Strider and welcome to my Omega DLC review. Attempt 5. There's a reason why it's attempt number 5. It's because this is one of the hardest reviews I've ever had to do as a Mass Effect fan. I love Mass Effect, I love the Mass Effect universe, and I care about the Mass Effect series. And I was excited for this DLC. It was going back to Omega. And then Bioware announced the female Turian they were dropping in. And I started to get a little worried. So on with the review. I'll go into details as I go along. First of all, this is spoiler free, but I am going to start off by talking about the story a little. There isn't one. Not really. You go to Omega, you take it back. There's only one way this can go. That's it. That's your story. They do elaborate a little. I've got to admit, the opening cutscene, phenomenal. It feels like you're being picked up by a mafia mob boss, Aria, in a blacked out car with blacked out windows, and she even shows you a picture of the target and like, this is the guy we need to whack, Shepard. And I absolutely loved it. Just the opening feel and the opening tone. And I was starting to get excited for actually getting to Omega. And then the next scene that follows after that, yet again, awesome. It sets the scene, it sets the pace, and it sets the feel perfectly. And then your boots hit Omega, and it goes downhill. There's not much story from there on out. You do interact with Aria a little. There's not many choices from there on out, because you're limited to dialogue choices, and I think maybe one Paragon and one Renegade option throughout the entire DLC, which I just found lacking. The story could only go one way, granted, retake Omega, that's the main objective. I understand that. They had the confines of a story, which was retake Omega, so it could only end one way. You can't suddenly go, sorry Aria, I'm gonna join Cerberus for, 5 minutes until I get back onto the main game where I'm going to start killing him again. That wouldn't make sense. They have to adhere to the main game as well, the story of the main game as well. So I wasn't expecting any sudden plot twist where Shepard betrays Aria. I wasn't expecting that, and I'm sure everyone playing this DLC knew that as they went into it. Maybe you could have redeemed the main villain of the piece, General Oleg Petrovsky. Maybe you could have redeemed him, but no, I wasn't expecting much through this. So, yeah, that's the story. In a nutshell, there really isn't one. You can probably imagine how Shepard and Aria would take back Omega. So, yeah, that's the story. Not spoiling anything. So what about the core gameplay? It's combat, followed by some more combat, occasionally pressing A, more combat. There's no attempt to mix things up here. Lair of the Shadow Broker did things perfectly. You had a little bit of combat, you had a car chase, then you had a little bit more combat, then you had a boss battle, then you had more combat on the Shadow Broker ship, where there was the new element of the lightning rods, where you could use them to a tactical advantage, which was interesting, which changed up the combat a little bit, and then you had another boss battle. Perfect example. There was no attempt to mix anything up here. It was just combat, 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 from start to finish. The only attempt to mix things up was pressing A on something, which is akin to opening a door. You use A button to open the door, or X button if you're on the PlayStation. Use the A button to open the door. So you walk around, you press A on something. Objective completed. That's your mixing up the core gameplay. You've got your combat, you've got your pressing A on things. You use A to go into cover as well. I've only just realised that. You use A to sprint and go into cover. I don't know what they were thinking. Oh, another note, side missions. They're not really side missions. It's pressing A on more stuff. I promised myself I wouldn't rage and I'd stay calm. Deep cleansing breaths. I mean, even I played this 3 times. Normally if I review something, I want to play through it twice at the very least. If I need to go more in depth, I do it 3 times. I did this 3 times to find something anything that could redeem this DLC, and I couldn't find it after 3 full playthroughs. I couldn't find a damn thing. Side missions. The included side missions, as I've said, which is pressing A more on other stuff instead of just doors and your objectives. Pressing A. I couldn't get my head around this. I mean, I can understand why side missions with Arya about may be a little difficult. You know, you couldn't suddenly have Shepard running up to Arya like Lassie, like, "Arr, arr, 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 arr," and Arya's like, "What's that, Shepard? Little Timmy's fallen down a well? Well, screw saving Omega, screw saving the station and Afterlife, my bar, my home. Let's go and help little Timmy." You know, it wouldn't fit her character, which is perfect enough. You know, I didn't expect much from the side missions, but even I came up with a better idea. Say you meet Patriarch, and he's injured, he's bleeding, you know, and he says, "I've only just got my hump out of there, Shepard. The Cerberus agents closing in on our hideout. We need to deal with them now." Side mission. Arya would be interested in that. Arya would be interested in saving her own skin. So, you know, that would work. It would work in the context of the story as well. She's interested in herself. She's only out for herself. She only drags Shepard along because she thinks she needs Shepard, which is fair enough. Although, gotta admit, she really doesn't need Shepard. I was playing on hardcore for this. I thought the combat was going to be much more difficult. Bioware themselves in the preview said the combat's going to be much more difficult. Mike Laidlaw, was it? No, it's not Mike Laidlaw. Whoever the guy was who was playing it died a couple of times, and I thought, damn, if he made the game, this must be tough. But it's not the case. It's not tough at all. I played on hardcore for about half of it, insanity for the rest of it, because I had to increase the difficulty. I was breezing through it way too easily. So yeah, I dialed it all the way up to insanity about halfway through. Oh, sorry, I missed one thing in the attempt to mix things up in the combat. 2 new enemies. Not spoiling them. Gonna spoil one of them. The Rampart mech. You've seen mechs before. Rampart mech. The first combat encounter with them, actually pretty difficult. After that, they get really easy. The second enemy is built up beautifully. It's tense, it's scary, and you're thinking, Jesus, this thing is going to jump out at me at any second, it's going to rip me to shreds. But no, it's actually kind of weak, and it acts exactly like a Reaper Brute, and I even think it uses the same animation. It just attempts to run at you and hit you hard, and that's all it does. As I was playing as an infiltrator, you know, with the sniper rifle and the pistol combination, the classic infiltrator from Mass Effect 1, yeah, it was difficult to begin with. But then I changed out my loadout. There isn't much use for a sniper rifle throughout this DLC, and I just picked up a shotgun. So if you're playing as an infiltrator, a tip from Strider, pick up a shotgun. In fact, if you're any class, pick up a shotgun. You're going to need it. So yeah, there's really not that much chance to use a shotgun, a sniper rifle, sorry. And because I couldn't use my sniper rifle, my weapon that I'm best with, I felt underpowered on the battlefield. Arya was kicking ass left, right and centre. And I was just along for the ride. Nyreen, who I will go into in a minute, she was also there. She felt kind of powerful. She had her own style of fighting. She was a bit more of a sentinel class. She had tech powers and biotic powers, so she was more of a sentinel, the female Turian of the piece. Yeah, she could have been any gender, any species, and she still would have he or she would have come across as interesting. I'll go into her in a minute. Yeah, so I felt really underpowered on the battlefield next to Arya and Nyreen, you know, because I was using a weapon I was unfamiliar with, the shotgun. Surely as the player, I should feel like the most powerful badass on the field. But no, that came across as being Arya with her biotic flare ability, which was so overpowered, it was unbelievable. She didn't need Shepard along for the ride, that's what Shepard felt. Shepard felt along for the ride on this. Whereas at the beginning she was stating that she needed Shepard for this, she needed Shepard because she couldn't do it on her own. It just turned out Shepard felt like a liability, and surely as the player I should feel like the baddest person on the field. You know, but I wasn't getting that. All I was equating to was hiding behind cover, running out, shotgunning someone, turning invisible and running away again. I was feeling like a coward. You know, I'm supposed to be Commander Shepard, badass extraordinaire. Oh, by the way, I was playing as a female Shepard, so the whole thing felt like Charlie's Angels with all three females. I expect them to pull the pause any minute. That was amusing me for a while. Yeah, but I was really amused by that. Yeah, I actually enjoyed the feel at the beginning, the Charlie's Angels kind of feel to it. Yeah, so I'm going to go on to the characters a little bit. Arya, as awesome as she is, doesn't really shine in this DLC. Um, she felt a little different. I'm sure the voice actor's the same. I didn't check it. I'm sure it's still Carrie Ann Moss. If it's not Carrie Ann Moss, then it's a very good sound alike. But at the very end of the DLC, she actually was a little bit out of character. And for the life of me, maybe this isn't a spoiler. She does state that maybe it's Shepard rubbing off on her. Maybe it was also Nyrene's influence rubbing off on her because she's a little out of character. In one of the endings, at least. I didn't see both endings. There was a little variant between the two of them. Um, yeah, so maybe that's why. Um, yeah, so Arya doesn't really shine in this DLC. At one point, where during a certain cutscene, I'm trying to do this as spoiler free as possible. During a certain cutscene, she actually sounded like she was just reading from the script, a bit bored, if I'm honest. It was supposed to be inspiring, and it felt like she was just reading from the script, and she couldn't care less. Um, yeah, so Arya's a difficult character though. You never know her true motives, and yeah, maybe it's just that Arya's a difficult character. I'm going to go on to Nyreen Kandos, the female Turian, which was almost a selling point for this DLC. Um, Nyreen is awesome. I loved her voice actor. I have no idea who it is. I intend to look it up and see any other games that she may have voice acted in because I'd be interested in seeing how she does in those too. Um, she was awesome. I enjoyed having her around. She was an interesting character. We learn more about Turi and Biotic, how they live their life with the Cabals. Not spoiling anything. She's the leader of the Black Talon gang on Omega, and yeah, she had a really good relationship with Arya, despite Arya being a little like luster when she was interacting with Nyreen. She suddenly became very interesting. There was kind of like a flirty element there, and I was actually thinking at one point, is Nyreen the other mother father to, is it called Lizelle? Arya's daughter. I think she's called Lizelle. I'm not 100% sure. I was thinking, is that the relationship? Did they have a romantic relationship in the past? Because they do hint that before all this happened, before the events of Mass Effect 2 happened, and maybe even Mass Effect 1, that they had some sort of relationship. But Bioware never capitalised on that. They never explained quite what the relationship was. I was very disappointed. I think it's left as a hint for true fans who've like read the books and it's kind of like were they romantically involved? I think it's maybe just hinting for the true fans and leave us to figure it out for themselves. But I would have kind of liked to have understood. I would kind of like would have liked have it. I would have liked getting tongue tied here. I would have had preferred to have it spelled out for me, like this is our relationship, instead of just leaving it as suggestive. Because we're never going to see these characters again. This trilogy is now over. So I would have preferred to have had it spelled out instead of leaving it purposely vague for the fans. Um, yeah, so I really enjoyed Nyreen Kandos. She was the highlight of the entire DLC for me. So I've covered the characters. I think I've covered absolutely everything that I want to say. Is this worth 2,100 Microsoft points? Hardest answer I've ever had to give. Normally, when it comes to Mass Effect DLC, I say shut up and take my money. It's not worth it. Oh, sorry, I missed something. What do you take into the main game after the DLC, which is vital to me, after the DLC has ended? There's a couple of new weapon mods. Shotgun, Omniblade attachment, heavy barrel for your pistol, so on, so forth. No war assets, thankfully, although I would have preferred them to what I got. 2 more biotic powers that you can equip to your Shepherd. I play as a goddamn infiltrator! Can't you give me some other skill? You know, a tech-based one, a combat-based one, not more biotics. In Leviathan, you gave us the option to take Dominate as a biotic power. I like to keep my Shepherd in character. She wouldn't just suddenly develop biotics halfway through Mass Effect 3. So, you know, I was really disappointed. 2 more biotic powers. Lash, which is one of Arya's skills, and Biotic Flare, which is overpowered as it is. I won't even see myself equipping it, to be honest, because my Shepherd just ain't a biotic. What else do you take? Can you revisit Omega after this? The main selling point? No. Omega's shut. For reasons that are never explained. You can't go back. Simple as. No. No Omega for you. You can't go back. You can't revisit your old haunts. You can't see what's going on after there. You don't see Jack. Not the character. You don't see anything. Why? Can't we just go back and see how Ori is? Maybe hang out at the bar? Maybe it's, all crummy looking, but, that she's opened up anyway? I would have preferred that. Doing the Shepherd Shuffle on the dance floor one last time. No, you can't even revisit Omega. It's not worth the price. As a Mass Effect fan, I can't even recommend this to another Mass Effect fan. This is the worst of the bunch. Maybe the second worst, Pinnacle Station being at the very bottom. I really didn't like that one. That's really a statement. I was disappointed with Leviathan. The lore made it worthwhile. This doesn't add any lore. It hardly adds anything to the main game. Oh, I was happy with one thing. I got to finish my N7 Armory. It added the N7 Valkyrie. When I pre-ordered the game and I got the collector's edition, I pre-ordered from a retailer in the UK, so this is going off topic a little. I pre-ordered from a retailer in the UK, and their pre-order bonus was the Valkyrie Assault Rifle. Now when I got the collector's edition, I expected the full N7 Armory, and I didn't get the Assault Rifle. Because the company that had it as a pre-order incentive fell out with EA, which essentially made the Valkyrie Assault Rifle pre-order bonus an North America exclusive. I was very upset. I wanted the full N7 Armory. So I'd got my Valkyrie Assault Rifle in the end. And I was more happy with getting that than the entire rest of what happened in DLC. Some of the environments are nice. Some of the character development for Nyreen in particular built her up very quickly over a short short amount of time. And actually I enjoyed her character. Arya was a bit iffy for me. Even some of the voice acting was a bit off. And Shepard wasn't really needed to be there. My Shepard felt underpowered. I can't recommend this, not even to another Mass Effect fan. Some of the environments were very, very nice, and I enjoyed seeing more of Omega. But I couldn't honestly recommend this to even a Mass Effect fan. If you were just a casual fan of Mass Effect, or maybe you just like the game and occasionally like to get a DLC to lengthen your game. If you like the combat, and you like just combat, then yeah, download it. Sure, fair enough. But if you're like me, if you're an RPG fan and you like to see character development, and you like interesting characters, interesting cutscenes, making choices, all that is sadly lacking. There's very little choice in this besides dialogue. I think I've covered absolutely everything. So very, very disappointed. Bioware, shame on you. I am hoping for much, much more. Apparently there's one DLC left to come out. This is going to have some amazing selling point. Otherwise I'm just not going to get it. It's going to have to be change the ending massive for me to actually pick this up. It could even be play the opening level to Mass Effect 4. It's going to need to be damn impressive for me to even consider picking this up. If this is what you can do with the maximum amount of file space, 1.99 gig, the maximum amount that you can put up on the marketplace, the next thing is going to have to be hella impressive. I mean that, otherwise I will not be getting it. I am so disappointed with this DLC. I even put down Leviathan. As I've already said, that was worth it on the lore alone. It did feel at some points that it was like, hey, I'm a new character to explain why you should love the ending. I didn't like that with Leviathan. I never stated that in my review. I really wish I did. Leviathan felt like a character that they just dreamed up to explain why you should love the ending now, and I didn't like it. I never stated that in my review. I wanted to leave that, completely out so you can make your own mind up on that. No one seems to have picked up on that, so I'm throwing that out there now. That Leviathan did seem like a character they just dreamed up to explain why you should love the ending a little more, even after the epilogue DLC. So, yeah, that's it. I think I'm pretty much done with Mass Effect for now. I will be eyeing the next game. There's definitely going to be a next Mass Effect game, very skeptically, and I'll be keeping my distance. From now on, the N7, which used to represent my favourite game series of all time, I've been gaming for 25 years. The N7, which is my favourite gaming series of all time, it's now going to represent, be careful what you wish for, and approach games that you're excited with a little more skepticism. So, there's my review. If you think I'm wrong, leave a comment by all means. I never ask for comments, subscriptions, likes. I never ask for anything from you guys. If you think I'm wrong, leave a comment down in the comment section. I read them all. I respond to as many as I can. I swear to you. N7 Normandy 1, I know you're going to leave a comment, so I will reply to yours. Yeah, please try to keep your comments spoiler free, please. I think that is absolutely everything. I've been N7 Strider, and I should go.